There he is. My man. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. By the way, I did not put this up because you just happen to be on. I literally have it on all the time. So
You've always got that there?
I swear.
That's good to know.
Have you ever had one of those moments where maybe you walk into a store or something, or I don't know, like a Hot Topic or something back in the day or something, or there's a Taking Back Sunday song going on and you kind of just laugh to yourself, or somebody kind of recognizes you, but anything like that?
Occasionally, yeah. One thing that was pretty funny that just made me think of is when I was in Straylight Run, we were in Australia, and back then they actually used to do kind of the same thing as an emo night. This is in 2005. They would do after shows, you go to a bar and they'd play, emo music or whatever. So Sean and I were hanging out there, and we just happened to decide we were going to leave and go to another bar. And just as we're getting up and walking out, they start playing a Taking Back Sunday song. And at that point, that was when people, still were really obsessed with the drama of Taking Back Sunday and Straylight Run. So everyone was staring at us and just kind of assuming we were storming out because we were mad that Taking Back Sunday was playing.
You're like, God, we can't escape this, can we? Right? It's
yeah,
can't get out of it. Well, listen, man, we're stoked, and thanks for joining us. And also to all the viewers out there, if you have any questions for John, feel free to put them in the chat. Also, make sure to drop a follow below, because today is, the official partnership launch. I just partnered up with Twitch. Obviously, the Gunz Show, still podcast, idobi radio, all that stuff. But every single Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be interviewing some of your favorite artists here, 7 p.m. We're taking over the music side of things here on Twitch, which is a very cool thing because you get the video side rather than just an audio side like you still will with the Gunz Show. So, John, my man, first up, dude, how are you? Where are you? What state? Did you get hit by the hurricane? What's the deal?
I'm currently at home in Lawrence, Kansas.
Gotcha. No hurricanes.
And,
no hurricanes in Kansas today.
No hurricanes. Only tornadoes here. And but actually, my family and I were in Boston and Cape Cod just up until yesterday, and we flew home last night. So we got out of there just before the weather.
I was going to say that was probably one of literally the last flights you got out on, because it's just been a mess ever since.
Yeah, we were pretty lucky.
Have you, for obviously many people know you grew up in Long Island and whatnot, East Coast represent, have you seen or been involved, knock on wood, on a tornado? Have you seen a tornado yet? Has one come near you in Kansas?
We've had some tornado warnings, but nothing that close to anything that we had to worry about.
Does growing up in Long Island really, did you ever foresee yourself living in Kansas and worry about tornado warnings? Was that on the agenda?
No, I know. I never would have guessed. And actually, growing up on Long Island, going to Kansas would have been like going to a very far away foreign country.
Yeah.
I don't know if it felt like this to you, but I feel like most people who grow up in New York and Long Island, it kind of feels like that's its own country.
Yes.
And the United States is made up of a bunch of other less significant countries surrounding it.
It's definitely an us versus them vibe being here in the New York City and tri-state area on a Sunday. We are taking things back, though, on a Sunday.
Whoa.
So,
wow.
Listen, that's why I get paid the big bucks. That's why it is Gunz. That's why it's the Gunz Show. Give us an update, though, man. Obviously, we got some cool stuff with Straylight Run we'll talk about. Taking Back Sundays, finally getting some shows. We got Riot Fest. We've got all that. I want to ask you, though, kind of about the just the last year and a half. We had you on kind of like in the beginning of the pandemic when we thought it would be just 2 months and you know,
right.
Not 2 years. But give us how were things from your side? I remember in the beginning you and Adam were doing some stuff where it was like everyone would jump on the Instagram lives. Remember, like everyone was like, "Oh, we're all going to perform live on Instagram," and that
right.
and like my whole feed was just all these bands just doing Instagram live and stuff. How have you been since? How's the music been? How's life been in general? You know, the last year, I guess.
Well, you know, I feel like anything I say has to be, you know, prefaced with you know, it's been good for living through a global pandemic. You know, I feel like things can only be so good, but you know, I think my family and I here, we've been relatively fortunate, and we didn't do a whole lot music wise at certain points. Adam and I were together at the beginning of the pandemic. We did a few live streams then. And like you said, we kind of at that point figured, well, that'll be a good thing to do, so that while we're not doing shows for the next few months, we've done some live stream stuff. And then, 6 months later, we were like, I don't know what to do. So, Taking Back Sunday didn't do a whole lot during the pandemic. And once I did get another project going with Anthony Green and Adam Lazzara and Ben from Group Love. We recorded an EP from home during the pandemic for our band Fucking Whatever. Right. Are you allowed to say that on Twitch?
You can say whatever the fuck you want on Twitch.
All right, good. So yeah, we recorded an EP as Fucking Whatever. So that was a good musical experience. I recorded an EP with my wife for her first solo set of solo songs. So that was a cool project to do. And then this Straylight Run thing started to take shape also during the pandemic. So I was listening back to some of the live recordings that I had. They were just sitting on my computer for literally the last 10 years or so, and started thinking, well, maybe we should do something with this. So, all those things kind of got going because we had this downtime, which, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know the answer to this, but with Fucking Whatever, was that kind of something that, obviously you guys have all been friends throughout the years with Anthony and stuff, but like, was that kind of something that like a group text was just like, yo, why don't we just do something? Why not? Or was it kind of like, was the motion set like years ago for that?
It was definitely set in motion years ago when we were all on tour together. I think it was 2016. And we would record these just kind of like vocal a cappella jam sessions backstage after shows.
Right.
And they were all on phones, and we had probably a dozen or so of these things of just us kind of chanting and making stuff up, and Ben banging on stuff backstage, and then Anthony making up lyrics on the spot. And it was really fun. And the recordings are cool, but they're made on phones and it's all very loose, and the phone recordings aren't great. And we talked about just putting those out because we were like, well, why not? It'd just be interesting for people to hear it. But then we were texting and we're like, well, why don't we just try to record some actual songs in that same kind of way? And we started recording songs, and we basically didn't stop for like the next 2 or 3 months. And then we were like, this is really good, and people should hear it. So let's put it out.
We got a collection of songs. Like, why not? And you're right, because it was not only is the band name badass in itself, Fucking Whatever, but also it's like, you put all your minds and everything together. It's like, this is kind of, it's like, wow, this doesn't suck. This is solid.
Yeah, it was good.
And then, of course, besides Taking Back Sunday, and we'll get some questions. We already have some questions regarding Taking Back Sunday. I see Wishful Thinkers there, and I guess Jupiter will definitely get to your questions and more. So just if you have questions for John, put them in the chat. We'll get to them. Tell us about the Straylight Run thing. So I remember it was a band camp or something that we were working that like you had released, or the DVD type, that whole setup. What give us the latest on this Straylight Run stuff, because it was such a, I think it's rad, because for those that know Straylight Run, it was such a time, you know what I mean? But then like it was also like not like we weren't always everybody wasn't able to fully like see it on tour or anything like that. So that's why this is really cool to be able to hear these songs, different versions of them, etc. You know what I mean? So tell us what it is and kind of like, the concept behind finally putting it out now.
Yeah, so in 2005, we recorded a live show, and initially the idea was that it was going to be a DVD, and we ended up not being happy with the footage that was recorded, and that's a whole nother story. But we really liked the audio, and we actually had it mixed and like ready to go. But then, since it had all been planned to be released as a DVD, they weren't about to shift gears and make it just an audio recording. So it just got shelved. And then during the pandemic, when I said it's literally been just in my iTunes since then, just kind of sitting there, and I'll revisit it every once in a while. And I've decided to listen back, and I thought it sounded really good. It sounded better than I remembered it sounding. And so then at first I kind of just did a low key thing. I thought, well, let's do something for charity. We put it out on Bandcamp for to raise money for Feeding America. But our manager, Jillian, who works for Taking Back Sunday and now has helped with Straylight Run, she was like, maybe like hold some of the songs back in case you want to do more of a full release. So we did, I think, like 10 songs. And then eventually now the label got involved, and we're going all out with the entire set. It's 15 songs, and
Jeez.
We're doing a double vinyl release for it, and like this amazing packaging, and it's coming out digitally on September 17th. The vinyl maybe a little bit later because things take forever with vinyl, unfortunately.
Vinyl
but
does
it's,
take forever,
coming
yeah. Dude, that's well, awesome. Well, hey, congratulations. I remember you telling me about the DVD footage, and not saying you guys were pissed, but just to be like, well, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like,
yeah,
damn
it was a huge bummer. Yeah.
You know, like,
and I couldn't. Yeah. So like, the guy who filmed it decided, you know, he wanted to get all this footage of the beautiful theater that we were in, which kind of made sense because it was really nice, and there's a giant chandelier. And then he also wanted to just get the feel of the room, and he was like, well, let's have the lighting guy just kind of keep the house lights up pretty light so we can get all of this. And at the time, we are just sort of like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then after we watched the footage of it, you know, it just, after 3 or 4 songs, none of the lighting on the stage is changing. You just have like straight house yellow lights
like a high school talent show. Like
yes,
at a cafeteria.
Exactly. And, you know, for a few songs, it looks okay. But then, you know, like I said, 15 songs, you can't, like, the light show is a big part of what makes a show exciting to look at. And it was just, it started to look, you know, after 8 songs, you're like, oh my God, we can't put this out. This is just, it looks like at the talent show, or like that you got to see sound check or something, you know?
Right. No good. That
was a huge bummer.
Yeah. Not an ideal situation, but here we are 15, 16 years later, and we're able to put it out at least digitally, and obviously, like you mentioned, on the vinyl. I want to get a question in real quick coming off of that. Never Better Than Work or something is actually asking 2 questions. One.
Okay.
Will Straylight have one live date in celebration of the record release, or just in general? And then the second part is, are we ever going to get new Straylight material?
We are talking about doing some Straylight Run shows to support the release of the album. And so those are being discussed. I can't announce anything yet, but hopefully there'll be something to announce on that front soon. As far as new Straylight Run stuff, nothing is in the works for that. And that if that ever happens, it's way down the line. Nothing that I could even think about yet.
Well, I mean, that the possible live shows is I mean, that's huge right there. I mean, that would be a lot of fun because it's been so long. I know that you were able to do some solo stuff, or like kind of get together here and there throughout the year since Straylight and play, you know, mistakes and different, you know, things like that. And we always had a blast with that. But I mean, that's going to be really fun, man. Like when you look back at that time, obviously it was, you know, Taking Back Sunday, et cetera, and then you do Straylight. Was there, I mean, you just had to feel different on stage, right? All of a sudden, like, you're the lead singer, you know, but you're also like, you know, you're playing, you're doing guitar, you're doing the piano, like your keyboard, et cetera. Like, just a different kind of growth moment for you as a person, and like really coming out with this band that just came out with this fucking buzz, like almost immediately with mistakes and stuff. Just boom, took over the internet.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we kind of used the internet at the beginning of the band. I think I don't know how much credit I could take for it, but you know, we decided to just put the songs out for free online before we had ever done anything with our label yet, before we were, you know, doing anything official. And I think that ended up being a really smart idea because, you know, it would have been probably would have been 9 months or, you know, more before people heard the music that we had recorded, and instead they heard it about 2 months after we started the band, and I think that really helped get the, some excitement going.
You mentioned that you kind of sometimes look back at the songs, especially now because Straylight Run is going to be releasing this thing in September 17th. Is that what you said? September 17th, right? So
yes, I believe that's right.
Just less than a month right now. Obviously, follow him, John Nolan Music. Just follow the internet and you'll be able to find it for sure. Pre-order it, whatever it is. John Nolan Music is his Twitter and Instagram. Looking back, when you re-listen to those songs, did any of them hit you differently? Or just you're just like, damn, this is pretty good. Or, oh, wow, I wish I did this with this song. Or, wow, I really can't stand this song anymore.
I've always felt good about the songs that we recorded, and that one is actually we had just finished recording the EP, the Prepare to Be Wrong EP, and we actually played most of the songs from the EP at the show. That was one thing that surprised me, because the EP wouldn't come out for another few months or so, maybe more, and we just debuted all these songs that people didn't know in the set. So that surprised me. That was kind of a ballsy move, I think, to play 4 or 5 songs that no one's ever heard in our set. But that was kind of cool. And I was surprised that we sounded better live than I remembered us sounding. And I don't know, we might have corrected some things in post-production. We didn't do much though. But everything I've gone back and listened to since then, live, I feel like at the time we were always very self-critical, and we always felt like we weren't quite getting there as a live band. And listening back to that, I was kind of surprised. I was like, man, I don't know what we were so worried about. We sounded good. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's good when you're looking back at it, right? Which is maybe could have helped with the stress though, maybe in the actual moments, making sure that everything's always good. Being a musician and stuff, they kind of sometimes are too overly critical of themselves. But here we are years later, and we're definitely all stoked for that. We got some more questions we'll get to in a second. I want to say this though, I don't know if you were the same, but I did 2 things over the pandemic. Literally probably just 2 things. One is I found myself going back to old music, especially the high school years in college, because that's when we were the most vulnerable and that's what we wanted to do and got us through all this shit. So I listened back to some albums I hadn't heard in forever. Some of it could be Taking Back Sunday, the early Newfound stuff, all sorts of different bands. And then the second thing I did was I gave full albums from legendary bands I probably never really paid attention to. I know the Rolling Stones hits, but I don't know if I ever really fully ever sat down and listened to an obscure Rolling Stone record or Pink Floyd. You know what I mean?
Right,
and I went out of my way to listen to all those. Did you do any of that? Did you kind of find, what was your music listening habits yourself during the pandemic?
My listening habits were pretty weird during the pandemic. It kind of bummed me out actually, because there was just these phases I would go through where I wanted to work on music and I just couldn't really get the motivation up. And then it would be the same with listening to music. Anything I thought of putting on, I was just kind of I don't know. And then there'd be these other times where it was the opposite, where, I'd spend a week just working on music every day for hours. And then usually those are the times where I felt more excited about listening to music. And I think that the only thing out of the ordinary that happened with me is when I found something that I liked, whether it was something old or something new, I really latched onto it and just listened to it over and over for a week or 2, and then would get kind of really hung up on records for a while there.
Nice. They it was fun. I would go back, I forgot almost Happiness is an incredible album. like such a good album. You know what I mean? And like Flicker Fade is, I think, Flicker Fade is like honestly like one of the best songs I think you guys have ever done. And like obviously still goes off live. Just haven't seen it in a minute, but you'll be able to see Take It Back Sunday. They're doing all sorts of shows. You got Thursday, right? You got Thursday lined up. You got
we're doing a bunch of shows with Thursday. Yeah,
Jimmy Eat World. Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, in October. That's gonna be awesome.
But it felt great to be able to even like fully like, you know, when's the last time I fully listened to Happiness is, you know, from front to back rather than just go through the hits, you know what I mean? And like, so I was definitely delving back. Yeah. Do you ever find yourself listening back to your old stuff unless you have to, if you're going to put out like a live DVD? Have you put Take It Back Sunday on lately is what I'm asking you.
We had an anniversary for Tidal Wave at some point during the pandemic. And I sat down with headphones, I think, and listened to the whole album. That's usually the only time I'll put on a record, Taking Back Sunday, or really anything that I've been involved in, is if it's been like, oh, this is the 1 year or 2 year, whatever anniversary it came out, then I'll be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a minute and sit with that. So I listened back to Tidal Wave, and I really enjoyed it. That one, you know, it's crazy. I would say that it feels to me like that album came out a couple of years ago, and it's probably been like 4 years now or something insane. So it still feels pretty fresh to me, but it's been out for a while, and But so I wasn't too surprised by anything. I was always very happy with that album and enjoyed listening to it. So, but it was nice to just sit so far off from it. Sometimes when it's been only like a year and you're listening back, you still remember all the stuff, the little details that, you know, you're kind of like, oh, maybe this should have been like that, or there's a lot of things that stop you from just sitting back and enjoying it. But after a few years like that, I was able to just listen a little more, probably like a normal person, which is nice.
I just pulled it up. It's been 5 years.
Oh my God. Seriously?
Yes.
4. I thought I was like going a lot by saying 4.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
2016. Yikes. Anyway.
Yeah, that's something.
Listen, we're doing great though. We're doing great. Got another question here. Somebody else wants to know, will F and Whatever ever tour, do you think? Or maybe if everybody's at a festival together, who knows, right?
Yeah, we would really love to. We just got to figure out how to do it. It's a pretty unconventional band with not using instruments and mostly just voices. So we got to figure something out. But we really want to do it at some point, and I'm sure it'll happen. It's just kind of a matter of when.
Jupiter Sound says, my wife and I were excited to see Camille play the EP at Replay Lounge last month. We were. It didn't happen. Do you know if any other local shows might be in the works?
Oh yeah, that was a bummer. Yeah, she was supposed to play at a place here in Lawrence called Replay Lounge. Camille's my wife, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know. And the show ended up not happening. She was supposed to support someone who's coming through on tour, and they canceled the show. But unfortunately, nothing is in the works at the moment. But I feel like there's got to be something. At some point soon. She's always looking for anything to do. I think hopefully, I don't know. I would say once things slow down with the pandemic, hopefully it'll be easier. But Jesus, I don't know when that's going to happen. So we'll see.
It seems like we're just going backwards instead of forward. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
But I can tell you this: shows are happening. Like I said, I did an emo night on Friday. Went to Hella Megatour at City Field, which was fucking incredible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so much fun. Weezer, by the way, I've seen Weezer in the past, but have you seen what Rivers looks like these days?
I've seen a few of his. I think he's kind of wearing costumes. It seems like I saw one where he was in had a mullet and like old '80s leather jacket kind of rocker.
He's got the full mustache,
another one,
the mullet.
Yeah,
like wearing like these spiked outfits.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty fun. I saw another one where he's kind of like '70s tennis player kind of vibe. He had like a headband and like short shorts and whenever the tennis players used to wear. And so, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I mean, whatever gets you by. Hey, the pandemic will do that to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
But they absolutely crushed it. And then, of course, like I said, the Sad Summerfest is happening this coming week, which we're looking forward to. And then, Riot Fest is, still happening, and like it's going to be fun. So, and Take Back Sunday, of course, you can see them a lot on the shows. Real quick, somebody else asked, Wishful Thinker, any progress in TBS recording new material, ideas floating around? It's been a minute since we got music, as we just unfortunately found out about it.
Apparently it's been 5 years. We started, right when the pandemic started, we had just done our first week of writing together in the studio, like right before things went crazy. So we had this batch of ideas laid out then, and then we weren't able to get back together. We all live in different states, and we felt like it didn't make sense to travel. So then about 4 months ago, I think we finally got back together again and picked up where we left off. And that was kind of crazy because we listened back to ideas that we had recorded almost a year ago, and like none of us had heard them. So it was almost like hearing them like somebody else's ideas, which was interesting. You could definitely get like a pretty a different perspective on it. So we started there and then just kept going and writing some new stuff and demoing, and we've done 2 more sessions since then. So the ball is rolling. We've got a lot of demos, a lot of ideas flowing, and we're just working towards actually setting up a date to really record it. And so hopefully it won't be too long now. We'll see.
And of course, you'll be able to see them on the upcoming shows, and be backstage with each other, sound checking and stuff, throwing around more ideas and stuff. So that's exciting. So we've got that. About let's come out with some punches. You know what I mean? Let's go strong.
Yeah, well,
haven't been able to do shit for the last year and a half. We might as well, we need something to look forward to these days. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. I wish I had a more solid timeline, but we really feel it out as far as like when we feel like we're ready to go into the studio. And but I would say we're definitely going to have an album next year. The one, whenever it is, it'll be out next year sometime. I can give you that much.
Perfect. As we speak here with John Nolan, of course, from Taking Back Sunday. Also, very important, Straylight Run, dropping 15 songs. Digitally, it's going to be coming out. Live show from 2005, relive all the memories, relive all those songs that were just an absolute jam, and just so much fun. And also it's like, gearing up, and, some people, first of all, we haven't heard these songs this way before. And then on top of that, it's been a minute since 2005.
Yeah.
Maybe
there's
definitely a younger audience now that might be hearing these for the first time.
Maybe, yeah.
15-year-olds might be hearing some of these songs for the first time, which is.
I hope so. I mean, I'm not sure if any 15-year-olds have any interest in it, but I hope they do.
There we go.
Be nice if it's not all just nostalgia. But, you know what? I should add too that 2 of the songs you can listen to are on streaming services right now. We have the live versions of Existentialism and Another Word for Desperate out there. And so those are there. Check that out.
That just reminded me that wasn't that the music video that was on the subway? What song was on the subway?
Existentialism. Yeah, it was on the train.
How did you just did you have friends not let people onto that specific subway car when you were filming? How did that?
No, we had to get in touch with. Somebody got in touch with New Jersey Railroad, and we had a train, a whole train for, I don't know, maybe 3 hours or something that they let us use for a certain amount of money. And the train just kind of drove back and forth along its route with nobody else in it except the people filming. And, and that's how we did it.
I like how you were like, somebody did, because of course, hey, this is John Nolan. I'm wondering if I can reserve a train car.
Yeah, that was one of those things where I had the idea for the music video and kind of talked to our manager or the label or someone. I was like, we want to do this on a train. How do we do that? Can someone figure that out? And they did.
Well, thank you, Jillian, and everybody there for making that happen for sure. It is a Sunday night. We're doing this every single Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We got some great guests coming in the next few weeks as well. Every single Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Then, of course, you can listen to this on the Gunz Show stream, but you can be a part of it. Podcast, I should say. But now you can be a part of it. Just drop a follow, subscribe below. A lot of questions. We're going to be doing play-alongs. We had Small Pools on a couple weeks ago. We've had the Maine Mayday Parade, the Wonder Years, Lauren Sanderson, who's very talented, Dwayne, Water Parks, all sorts of great bands. Small Pools was awesome. They performed, and that was fucking sick. I love those dudes. So we're doing this every single Sunday, and it's a blast as we speak here with John Nolan from Taking Back Sunday. Want to do some rapid fire questions real quick, and we'll wrap it up? Sound good?
Sounds good, yeah.
All right, first off, what Disney movie has the best soundtrack?
Oh, man. The best soundtrack. I'm going to say, right off the top of my head, I'm going to say The Little Mermaid, because I love those songs.
Not a bad one. Part of this world, part of your world, one of those, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Under
a jam.
the Sea, all that.
Oh, yeah, yes. Okay, that's good. That's a good answer, because normally I get Aladdin, Beauty. Well, it's usually between Aladdin, Lion King, and Beauty and the Beast. But Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
Little Mermaid's a solid one, though.
Better.
Yeah, we like that one. Have you ever forgotten how to play a song and had to look at the other guys on stage and just feel like you just had like a mind blank?
Not an entire song, but definitely sections of songs for sure. That has happened probably more times than it should have. Yeah, every once in a while, my brain will forget how a part goes in a song, but I'll look down and my body is remembering it because I've done it so many times. And then other times my brain and my body forget, and then I just either stop playing or play very poorly for about 10 to 15 seconds and then pull it back together.
Okay, so you've never had to start up, obviously you're not going to forget Cute, the opening thing of Cute, but that opening chord. But so has it been like, right, here we go, and then you're just like, shit, I can't remember the opening chord? Or are we good on that?
I had a couple where I don't think I never completely forgot it, but definitely got nervous because maybe there were some that were harder and I had not played as many times, and then as I'm getting ready to play it, my nerves get worked up and then just completely botch it as I start it by myself, which is always the worst. That's always the worst.
Because it's that's your time. That's your time to shine.
Yeah, and it's you can't look at anybody else and be like, hey, what happened? It's everybody knows that it's you.
Have you ever broken more than one guitar string at a single time on stage?
No, I think I've been lucky enough it's only been one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You pick up a guitar. What's the first chord that your fingers just automatically go to? If somebody just hands you a guitar you're chilling on the couch or whatnot, what's that first chord that you go to?
Usually a G major.
What is a song that you wish you wrote from any band? Or a riff?
Yeah. There's a lot of them. There's so many. I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan songs lately, and Mr. Tambourine Man is always one that gets me. It just, not even necessarily to write that song, but to even approach anything on that level. I always think about that, or like a Rolling Stone, I think about a lot what it would take to be that good at writing music and lyrics and melodies, and those are some of the first ones that come to mind for me.
What band would you love to tour with that you haven't toured with yet?
Man, there's also a lot of those. I don't know if we're talking about
realistically,
realistically,
like Barry Manilow, or
the Beatles would be great, but that's obviously never going to happen. I really love the Flaming Lips, and I love their live show. I think that would be amazing to be on tour with them and see that every night, and kind of be part of a tour with them. That's probably about as likely to happen as the Beatles, but you never know.
All right, but could you like that one? I'd say I think a Taking Back Sunday Foo Fighters tour would personally be kind of badass.
The Foo Fighters would definitely be one. I mean, there is
So many,
tons of
right?
bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could keep going and going.
What is one of three more questions here with John Nolan? We'll get to you. We got one more. Actually, somebody just asked another. All right, here we go. Real quick. Drop a follow below, by the way. Everybody, thank you for watching as we do this every single Sunday night. Drop a follow below, though. Means a lot. Tell your friends about it as well. The Gunz Show. Let's go. What is a song that you wish got more attention and love from Taking Back Sunday, from a fan standpoint? Underrated song.
Man. There's a decent amount of those. I think the go-to one, and we've talked about it a lot, but I might as well talk about it again, is probably El Paso from Taking Back Sunday's self-titled album. And every time we talk about that one, there's always somebody who pops up and says like, "Oh, but I love that song. It's one of my favorites." And I believe them. But at the time when we released it and started playing it live, we thought people were going to just completely lose their shit for that song. We thought people, like, we loved it. We were losing our shit over it. And we just thought people were going to go crazy. And they didn't dislike it, but there was a sort of a, so that was, I think, one of the big ones that all of us kind of think about as, man, I just can't believe people didn't go crazier for that song.
Do you think if it came out today, it would be received differently? Like, do you think it was timing, or was it kind of just the buzz wasn't there? Like,
it's possible. I think one thing definitely that I would say that definitely didn't help was that was the first song we put out after Sean and I came back into Taking Back Sunday, and it doesn't really sound like anything Taking Back Sunday's done before. So I think there was probably a certain amount of people that were maybe hoping for Tell All Your Friends 2.0, or, you know, a continuation of some of the sound that Taking Back Sunday had with some of the other guys. And we kind of just took this 90-degree turn into this whole other area. So that might have been some of it. People were just like, huh? Like, this is not, this is not what I was expecting or looking for from this band right now.
Unprotected Saxophone 87. What's the favorite TBS song you like playing that you didn't write yourself?
I really like playing What's It Feel Like to Be a Ghost. That's really fun to play on guitar, and I really like it as a song. And yeah, I had absolutely nothing to do with it. So,
final question: what are you either listening to these days, watching, have been watching? What have you been? What's the go-to TV, movies, whatever these days for John Nolan?
Man, I don't watch a whole lot, really. I watch a lot of Mets games, which was really fun for a while and has become increasingly less fun over the past couple of weeks. But that's one of the things I watch the most. I really like Ted Lasso.
Love
that
it.
show.
Yes.
That one was really, that was kind of, that came out at the perfect time during the pandemic, I feel like, for everybody. Kind of, make this a good spirit lifter.
Yeah.
That's the big one. I really like anything that like Tim and Eric do. Anything that they put out or have put out, I usually rewatch and go back and forth to over and over again. Check it out with Steve Brule, all that stuff. I'm really into. I really like the new season of I Think You Should Leave. That is something that I've been really into.
I don't know that one. I gotta look that up. I don't. I love Ted Lasso, but I don't know that other one. All right, so I'll check that one out.
I Think You Should Leave. Yeah, there's 2 seasons now. It's on Netflix, and it's kind of like absurd sketch comedy.
You mentioned before that Ted Lasso came out the perfect time, and that's so true because it's giving us entertainment to watch. It's like we're still figuring everything out. It was so funny because I feel like Tiger King. First of all, Tiger King came out during the pandemic, even though it feels like it was a fucking decade ago.
Yeah, it does.
But if Tiger King came out at any other time, nobody would care whatsoever. But that was like in the beginning. It was like that, and like the Chicago Bulls, like the
Yeah,
documentary,
the documentary
thing that came
yeah
out. Like, and
Yeah.
Tiger King came out at any other time in life, everyone was just like, oh, whatever. But there was like, I feel like the whole internet and the whole world was just watching these, like, all these Netflix things every couple of weeks together because there was nothing
Yep.
else to do.
Yeah, I never would have watched that show. It's really not up my alley at all, but I watched every second of it. And you know what? We were actually still with Adam and Misha, their family. We were staying with them at the beginning of the pandemic. We all got stuck together, and we were all glued to the Tiger King. We couldn't stop, like many other people.
It was so wild because everyone was just like, you gotta watch it. So I watch it, and like, I obviously I don't know the story, I don't know anything about it, but you want to talk about something taking a curveball. After the one episode, they're just like, at the end of the one part of it, they're just like, and that was before he killed his wife.
Yeah.
We're just like, whoa. I thought there was just about like animals being like, it's like, wait. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm watching the next one now.
Yeah. And every time I would be watching it, there'd be a point in it where I'm like, man, this is so stupid, and I don't know if I want to keep watching this. And then something else would happen, and I'd be like, oh my God, I have to see what happens now. There's no way I'm turning this off.
Gotta love it. Tiger King. Final question. Somebody actually, well, not really question, but network or something, whatever, I can't really see the name, says you should bring Vacationer out as an opener. Of course, that's Kenny from the starting line.
Yeah.
He does Vacationer. It's kind of a cool, different type sound that he's got going there. So there you go. There's a suggestion.
I would love to. Yeah, we had his band Personnel on some shows when I first came back in the band, and I toured with Personnel too. That's some of my solo shows, and I would love to do some stuff with Vacationer. Yeah, Kenny's great.
Remember those early brand new TBS starting line days where a lot of those shows were fucking, everyone was coming up. Best of Me, Cute, and then obviously Jude Law and all that stuff, and then obviously
that was a crazy tour.
Quiet Things, like when that started kicking off, I mean, like those, everyone was just coming up together. It was such a great, like, just, that was like the scene, you know what I mean? It was so cool. And then the Movie Life started ripping it with Hand Grenade and everything, and like, drive-thrus doing their thing, and like, fuck, good times. Until then, though, you don't have to listen back or feel nostalgia at all, because you will be able to see Taking Back Sunday at Riot Fest with such a good lineup. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So everyone go see that in Chicago in just a couple weeks. And then that was enough to also be touring with our friends from Thursday. And if that was enough, you're also doing some dates with Jimmy Eat World, which is going to be, I mean, Jimmy Eat World and Taking Back Sunday, talking about a 1-2 combo right there. Let's fucking go. That's going to be wild. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
John Nolan.
Very exciting.
The first time you step out on stage, for that first show back, are you going to feel nervous, excited, freaking out? What are you going to feel like? Or just relieved that you're finally back on stage?
I think I probably all three of those things you just said probably simultaneously, I would imagine.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, many of the chat and people and the viewers at home will be there cheering you on. My man, check him out. September 17th, Straylight Run, live album coming out from back in the day. Now you can hear it, and some of the songs are already streaming right now that you can check it out. Straylight Run, and some cool stuff there. Follow him on all the socials, John Nolan Music. Always a good time catching up. I also like how I always go, it's going to be 10 minutes, and then we end up having a fucking sit down, like a fucking church session or something.
Why not?
Like a homily I'm giving. All right, awesome, man. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much to the viewers out there. If you're listening to this on the podcast, well, you should follow along on Twitch. And thank you for all the great questions out there. Follow them, John Nolan Music. Enjoy Riot. Dude, Riot Fest is going to be so much fun. And then, of course, the tour.
Can't wait.
And take care, man. Best of luck, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you.
Rock and roll.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man.